Hello, everybody. It is that time of the week again. That time for me to step up in front of a camera and react to videos for a good hour or two. Let us see who is in the chat tonight. Probably going to be like a pretty easy stream. AAA, welcome to the stream. Wonder Man, more like Meta Wonder Man. Oh boy, I heard about this. Trailer is horrible and plainer than the She-Hulk. This trailer is so horrible that it makes me want to run away. More DEI garbage. At this point, do you really expect anything more out of Disney Marvel? Like, come on, man. Gil Hermie, hello. Welcome to the stream. Chase Hedges 67. The MCU was always hit and miss and mediocre. I think a lot of people are really starting to come to terms with that in light of recent all of the bad projects we've been getting post Endgame. Like, people are even critiquing Endgame. Hey, Arachnid Youth, welcome to the stream. Have no fear, for I am here. That is great. Oh, I wish I was in your position, buddy, because that would make this go by way faster. Okay. No, I don't want to. No co-star for the stream tonight because my recent usual co-star Kawil is tied up with important business, and Scruffy just kind of vanished into the nether realm. So yeah, it's just gonna be me tonight. Me and my beautiful vocal cords. I will not blame anybody for leaving after that performance. But let us get started here with a couple of reactions to some fake reactions to the Wonder Man trailer. I have not seen the Wonder Man trailer outside of like brief clips from Mr. Grizzy's video that was released in like the past week. Oh Lord, that's embarrassing. You gotta close that. All right, we are starting off with Married to the Real. You say Married to the Real, but your reactions are fake. I wish I could forget Wonder Man is a thing. All right, let us go and start with Married to the Fakes.
About to be action packed, so sit back and enjoy your snacks. Oh,
yeah. Man, I don't want to see a montage of all of your fake reactions, man. Come on. You can do better than that. Please don't.
Realist, it's Trey.
And it's Sasha.
Man to the Real. Wonder Man.
Yeah.
Okay, not gonna lie. Maybe they actually have the most genuine of reactions. They just sound so dead inside. Okay, checking the background, we've got your obligatory Funko Pops, because everyone thinks that if you own a large amount of Funko Pops, you are a fan of something. You got a fake Captain America plushie back here. You've got a Wonder Woman poster. I don't know. My first instinct is Captain Marvel. No idea. And DVDs and possibly manga, aka your standard setup for fake fans. Like, this is kind of like all it takes for people to be convinced that you are a real fan of something. That is sad.
It's some kind of trailer. This the official one. I don't know nothing about this man, so we're gonna see what Marvel showed me to see if I want to watch it.
The entertainment world is stunned today when internet.
Do I have to consistently keep pausing chat? I do not, because I don't want to get another copyright claim on another one of my streams. I have had 2 copyright claims. One of them technically not really being much of my fault. But that's just how it rolls, I guess. I would think I was able to beat both. Yeah, I beat one. Funko Pops should never have I do not understand the fascination with Funko Pops. Like, are they meant to be bobbleheads? Because they don't really bobble. Don't mind just taking notes for how not to set up my own background for face cam streams when I get my apartment. Yeah, just take all the notes you need. What the hell am I looking at? You're looking at 2 fat couch potatoes sitting in front of a monitor, possibly going to be fake reacting to something.
Nationally celebrated and reclusive filmmaker Von Kovac sprung out of retirement to sign on for a remake of Wonder Man. Mr. Von Kovac, could you tell us more?
Everyone is tired of superheroes.
There we go. We have the poking fun at superhero fatigue, even though superhero fatigue is not because people are sick of superheroes. It's because we're sick of bad superhero products. But Disney Marvel does not get that. They will instead think that people just don't want classic superhero media anything. And it's basically like the Deadpool and Wolverine movie where, it was extremely meta. They poked fun at being woke and all that, but that they're not going to change. They're going to laugh at themselves when it benefits them, but they're not going to change. And that is a big problem. It's basically rubbing in your face of, haha, we know what we're doing, but we're not going to change anytime soon. Like, at that point, why are you even supporting the company? Just leave. It's honestly sad, man.
An opportunity to reimagine a whole genre of storytelling.
Have you thought about casting?
So, what's this? Big audition you were talking
Really?
about.
It's a huge opportunity. I'm auditioning for Wonder Man.
Did you hear about Wonder Man?
Was that the fake Mandarin? The first of the fake Mandarins, guys? Was that the guy from Iron Man 3? I could be mistaken. But I think that might be him. Because if that's the case, Marvel, why are you milking him? Like, why are you actually using that guy now? Like, come on. Nobody liked the Mandarin reveal in Iron Man 3. Come on.
I need to be in this movie.
Sorry, you crazy.
I was born to play this character.
Oh, Christ. Never mind the fact that this is going to be yet another race swap to add to the endless list of race swaps. This is just awful. Oh God. Why do I have to be right? Why do I have to be able to point out something correctly? Why can I not be wrong for once? Ugh. Maybe I'm too smart for my own good. I don't know. It's starting to come across more. Ben Kingsley needs to get away from the MCU. I don't know if he has a choice or if Marvel is like the only people hiring him at the moment. I don't know.
Are you serious? Boo, they are already talking to Leo.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Just what kind of project is this, guys? Like, seriously, did you imagine this when you hear the idea of a Wonder Man show? Is this the type of thing you would want to sit down and watch? Like, oh, I cannot wait to see the next episode of Wonder Man where he has to deal with a catering issue. Oh, without the catering snacks, how can production go on? What's the point of making a fictional superhero show in a world where superheroes are actually a thing? You know what? I don't know. And that's...
You just gotta go out there and crush it.
Interesting.
Wow.
This show doesn't even look remotely... Like, I would be remiss to say that this isn't even a superhero show. Like, if you remove the fact that this is Wonder Man and you remove the Marvel logo, I would be convinced that this wasn't even made by, this wasn't even made by, this isn't even a show about an actual superhero who had his own, who was in comic books. Lore Master Chris, welcome to the stream. Who could possibly care? I don't really, I mean, we do have our obligatory shills that care.
What's wrong?
I'm trying to come up with a backstory for the character.
Well, trust the words. Just show up and say them.
Why does it have to be you who comes up with the backstory? Isn't that the writer's job? Chat, is this I'm pretty sure it's the writer's job to come up with the backstory, not the actor. Like, what the hell?
My process.
Well, the process can go blow a spider.
That is the dumbest line I have ever heard. Blow a spider? To be fair, the MCU has already been a parody of itself since I think James Gunn worked on the Guardian movies. This gives I'm gonna be a dad. Oh my gosh, are you referencing The Last of Us Part 2, the TV show? Because that is the first instance of me, like, when I hear that line, that is the first thing I think of. What can I man.
Guy's killing it in there, bro.
Really?
Damn.
Where have I seen him before?
I forgot his name, but I know who that
Pretty
is.
sure he used to be a
Some cat.
terrorist.
Key jingling. We got key jingling for Iron Man 3. Although, why the hell would you key jingle for Iron Man 3? The movie that pissed off Iron Man fans everywhere. Come on, bro. You're not even trying. Facts. To be fair, it should have gone out on a decent note and then just leave it be.
Slate whenever you're ready.
Simon Williams, reading for Wonder Man.
Listen to me, Simon. The callback is happening now. Just be normal. Normal, man. The breakdown is go method.
What the fuck?
Come in. Mr. Kovac will meet you in the living room.
I mean, I will give them credit. They actually look like they may have honest reactions here. Guys, I may have found people who have reacted to a Marvel trailer that have had honest reactions. Because look at these guys. Barely any expression. Damn. I think I may have found some honest reactors here. Maybe you did earn being called married to the real, because maybe you are married to the real. At least I'm hoping so. I mean, we've still got another 4 minutes to go, so let's see if they can keep this streak going, chat. Let's see how it goes. Place your bets now. Place your bets on whether or not they sadly fall back into standard Shield territory by the end. Place your bets.
Not these two, bro.
So you all here to meet Von Kovac?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone. I want to explore the place
That man
between
that's
fiction and non-fiction.
That's tight.
We are going
the
to
man with
make
the white hair. I
last
know what he's
movie
from
on
too.
Earth. No one will have the balls to make another. And action!
Interesting.
Any news from Von Kovac?
There is news to be the first to know, unless you call me again, in which case I will never tell you.
This is just so boring, chat. Come on, man. This is one of the many reasons why Marvel constantly pumping out content is a horrible idea. Like, this should just never have been their business plan. Because you get boring crap like this that I don't even think had a very high budget.
Okay.
So is Wonder Man an actual like hero, or is he playing an actual hero in that? Like, I'm trying to understand what it is. Like,
Holy crap. So far, it seems like they actually are genuine, chat. Damn. Sassy black woman character, totally hadn't seen that one before. Yeah. Just skip the vid, not worth it. Okay, I think we've seen enough. Islamic State. Sheep Talks blocked me on Twitter because I called out his retarded political views. Good for you, Islamic State. Welcome to the stream. The MCU was always pumping out content. The more I think about, even back when they were doing well. Yeah, I think it was like 2 movies a year. I think that's still like their standard. I could be wrong about that. We could do another Wonder Man reaction, this time by Blind Wave, or we can move on to something else. What do you guys think? Should we do another Wonder Man reaction, or should we move on to one of the other few videos I've got planned for tonight? Or do we do it like kind of like freestyle? I don't know. The DCU is, in my eyes, the DCU is dead. Like, that died before it ever really properly got started. Damn. I guess we can just jump to Blind Wave. And I'm going to skip. Oh, Lord. I remember these guys. Bounty Hunter, Star Wars Battlefront 2, EA version. No, wrong version. I'm thinking the pandemic version. I got a little tongue twisted there. There's a lot of Star Wars games I like that I can't think of at the moment. I'll get back to you on that. All right. Blind Wave. Reoccurring idiots on Mr. Grizzy's streams. Let's see what they've got in store for us. Shall we? And my volume's muted for some reason. Because I'm an idiot.
I'm Eric.
I'm Jake.
I'm Calvin. And we are here to watch a trailer. We all know what it is. This is for Wonder Man. Aaron's out of the studio and we're like, hey, let's do some trailers. And Jake said, like, there's a trailer you guys should maybe check out. It's called Wonder Man. Calvin, do you know anything about Marvel's Wonder Man?
Of course you don't. You're a fake fan who's never read a comic book in your entire life.
I'm assuming it's not like
Wonder Woman. That's DC. No, yeah. But make sure you're checking out our Justice League reactions that are going on right now, because man, that is fun. I know a little bit.
The entertainment world is stunned today when internationally celebrated and reclusive filmmaker Von Kovac sprung out of retirement to sign on for a remake of Wonder Man. Mr. Von Kovac, could you tell us more?
Everyone is tired of superheroes. There is an opportunity
Oh, please don't.
That's a process.
You just gotta go out there and crush it.
What's wrong?
I'm trying to come up with a backstory for the character.
Well, trust the words. Just show up and say them.
No, that's not my process.
Well, the process can go blow a spider.
The guy's killing it in there, bro.
Also pretty darn subtle reactions from them, and I expected some screaming at the very least. I've come to the realization the first Iron Man was decent/average at best and only succeeded because of pure luck. Robert Downey Jr. was fabulous, though. It's a pretty good movie.
Where have I seen him before? Pretty sure he used to be a terrorist.
Slate whenever you're ready.
Simon
I
Williams.
think I'm just going to skip right
That does
to
not
the end.
seem very conventional in terms of MCU. That's
No,
the one
it
thing.
does not.
The thing I knew it was about them.
Nothing that's been post Endgame has been conventional MCU dudes. Come on, they're trying way too hard now.
Making a movie, Wonder Man. That's interesting.
I like that it's very meta.
Yeah, super meta.
Yeah, and like nobody wants to make superheroes anymore.
Yeah.
So, what are they going to use in that vein to like, as a storytelling device to convince us that this is a worthwhile superhero thing to watch?
Except they failed because nobody would want to watch a show like this. This, again, superhero fatigue would not be a thing if they actually did their job, stayed faithful to the comics, and didn't make a billion dumb decisions. A bunch of bland white guys sitting at a table. Trust me, it could be way worse.
Yeah.
Superhero of what we see in this?
I was thinking, like, is it weird they make superhero movies in a world of superheroes? But it's not, because, like, Spider-Man, it was like, you're not Superman, you know? Like, they do that.
Sure.
In the DC shows, they would talk about, like,
Marvel
Hulk and Marvel
characters.
stuff. So it works. Wonder Man kind of had, like, a, at least that old version had, like, a, man,
I mean-
what's the right thing?
If you think about it this way,
Yeah.
we make movies about actors,
Yeah.
and they act in those.
Yeah, I mean,
movies.
yeah, we make war movies, and there's real
Yeah.
wars that happen. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I get
They're called documentaries, you idiot, or historical fiction. What the hell is this logic? Come on, man. You're not even trying. Seriously? You're making a comparison to documentaries about actors and war movies to Wonder Man, a Marvel character who's not even going to be an actual character in the Marvel universe. He's just going to be a fictional character within a fictional universe. Wonder Man doesn't exist, basically. Like, why?
Yeah, you're right.
They make all kind of things about real things.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting device to try and have as long as you have something to say.
I mean, hell, they made a Broadway musical about Steve Rogers,
Yeah,
right?
Please don't remind me of Hawkeye.
exactly.
Okay. Do you ever like mourn when Trevor used to be the Mandarin? Like I remember those trailers.
I think I'm just gonna. I think I've seen enough. Lord, this actual documentaries have more dignity than this. That is the MCU for you. Like, come on, man. You guys didn't even try with your logic. This was just sad. That was just sad. Like, Wonder Man is trying to be super meta. No, I don't think so. I think it's supposed to be Wonder Man is a fictional character. He doesn't actually exist. He's not an actual superhero in the Marvel universe. So we're not going to see Wonder Man. Like, this basically doesn't even seem like it's going to have any bearing on the wider MCU. I wouldn't have a problem with this if this show, A, didn't look bland as all hell, B, was not yet another attempt by Disney to laugh at themselves, yet taking no actions to change. And on top of that, again, because this thing looks freaking boring. Oh, and the fact that Disney has a wonderful track record when it comes to Marvel as of late. Like, come on, man. There's no way this show is going to, be watched by people. I keep hitting the wrong button. Okay. Here comes a good meat and potatoes video. Jedi Liam 64 with the future of MCU Spider-Man looks great. Oh boy. This video, man. This video is going to be something.
So, I watched Spider-Man No Way Home and I thought it was really good. I did have a couple of problems with the film, but overall, I think they did a really good job with what they had.
Then your expectations must be through the damn floor, man. Look, I bet I fell for the key jingling back when this movie first came out. But I'm older, I'm wiser, and I actually have standards. It looks like some kid made it. Because we need to stop the fake fan process from happening when they're young. Otherwise, they're going to grow up to become idiots like Sawyerism. I mean, I could find another video about Tom Holland's Spider-Man if you want.
Now, before I get into anything, there are going to be lots of spoilers for the movie, especially by the end of the film. So, if you haven't...
Oh, wait, this is just a review of No Way Home. I really have to start checking some of the... I really have to start checking these beforehand. Because this doesn't look like it'll make the cut. Brilliant content. This is why you guys come to this channel. Let's see. I need something good. Ooh! I got it. I've been meaning to debunk this one for a while. Just give me a second, guys. You are in for a treat. Okay. Jordan, Star Wars, welcome to the stream. The MCU Phase 6 comics are atrocious. Wonder Man looks atrocious, and all these new projects that they are working on are horrible. Stating the obvious is Jordan Star Wars, everybody. Okay. I have been meaning to get around to going over this video in particular because this one takes the cake, guys. Miles Morales isn't Spider-Man debunked by the amazing PSM. A delightfully easy to trigger fake fan who I have actually gotten kicked off some of his streams for just stating the obvious. That's how petty this guy is. That's how petty this guy is. Let's dive right in.
Morales isn't Spider-Man.
You're damn right he ain't.
It's an argument that I've seen floating around the Twitter space, and I've more than just tweeted about once and called it a day. I've tweeted about it enough to end up in a video by a popular comic YouTuber, just some guy. In fact, this video is...
Oh man, that guy's embarrassing.
is basically going to be a response to his video. But before I continue, I suggest you watch his video first, and do so without being toxic towards him or his fan base. If you do watch it, I recommend you only comment until after the video is done. I want to keep this a civil argument. Despite my tendency to fly off the handle at people on Twitter, YouTube is a different game, and starting beef with other content creators in their communities will lead to needless infighting within the community.
Needless infighting in the community. Dude, come on. Infighting is just something that happens. Is that Ultimate Spider-Man 2005 gameplay modded to have Miles Morales? Why, yes, that is Ultimate Spider-Man 2005 gameplay modded to have Miles Morales. You're welcome. I just probably burned your retinas.
While on Twitter, you're most likely just going to be having an insult match with one or two people. Also, before I continue, I want to be very clear that I did make an offhand comment about this video before watching it, and therefore, yes, that would mean I am asking my audience to not repeat that same error. That's my bad. I'll own up
Get to the damn video already.
to it. I thought the whole video was about my tweet before I heard it. Let's finally get to the breakdown. Okay, so right off the bat, Guy says that
Miles Morales is not Spider-Man. If he were Spider-Man, you wouldn't have to keep telling us.
Before I actually get to arguing the main bits of this, I want to quickly poke a hole in this way of thinking. If I went up to you and told you that Spider-Man's costume is entirely green, your response would be, no, it is not. If I repeated that his costume was green over and over, and you kept telling me it is not, and I decided to respond with, Spider-Man's costume is green, and if it was not green, you would not have to keep telling us. No matter who's in the right or wrong in this scenario, if one side has to keep repeating what they are saying, that doesn't automatically prove whatever they are saying to be false.
Except in this case, what you're repeating would be false because Spider-Man's costume isn't green. The same way Miles Morales isn't Spider-Man because they have to keep calling him Miles Morales. He doesn't even get like a cool, little extra tick to his name. No extra, like title to kind of help him distinguish himself. Like Spider-Man 2099 or, the original Ultimate Spider-Man or Spider-Man Noir. He doesn't have any of that.
Argument doesn't have any ties to any side either. If anything, I could turn this around on the other side of the aisle. Miles Morales is Spider-Man. If he weren't Spider-Man, you wouldn't have to keep telling us that he isn't. Now, before I get to the rest of this video...
Except we're doing it in response to Marvel saying he's Spider-Man, but he isn't because he hasn't earned the name, nor is he unique in any way from... Isn't Miles supposed to be the Brooklyn Spider-Man? That is reaching, and you know it, man. Peter Parker doesn't just defend Queens. He defends literally, like, he defends all of New York. The guy has been everywhere. You don't need a spider, might as well just have a Spider-Man for every district in New York. Come on, man. And besides, I think that was the Insomniac game only. I could be wrong on that. However,
don't hold your breath. There's no sponsorship coming. Don't worry. I just took a pause to scare you. Unless it's Squarespace. No, I'm kidding. I have to address what my beliefs about this topic are. I believe that Miles Morales is Spider-Man, and
then you immediately invalidate yourself as a Spider-Man fan, and everything you have to say after this means jack diddly squat. If you honestly think that this dude, who was created for the sole purpose of being a black Spider-Man, is genuinely deserving of the title, thank you, PSM, for revealing yourself easily. Come on. You handed me an easy W. That is just so embarrassing.
I believe that most people who say he is know that he is not the original Spider-Man. That is obviously Peter Parker. No one within their right mind is going to tell you otherwise.
Except for idiots who don't know any better.
Guy goes on to say in this video that he knows Miles Morales isn't Spider-Man, because we call him Miles Morales, not Spider-Man.
Miles Morales isn't Spider-Man. How do I know? Because you call him Miles Morales and not Spider-Man.
This line of thinking doesn't necessarily prove anything either. You see, for every...
But you see, if you say Spider-Man, everyone is going to think, you know, Peter Parker. That Miles only has his name as a way to distinguish himself. That's it. He doesn't even have any unique villains or anything to that extent. Like, come on. The idea is they want Miles Morales to be more than just this cool little side character that gets a mini series every now and again. They want him to replace Peter Parker. They want him to be the Spider-Man. And the problem with that is that doesn't work because everybody already knows why Miles exists and that his writers are so creatively bankrupt that they cannot get his book to sell. They just can't. It constantly keeps having to get canceled and then rebooted. Peter Parker is, in fact, Spider-Man, and that Miles Morales is Miles Morales. He may wear a Spider-Man suit, but that doesn't make him Spider-Man. Miles should have gone a different name. Dude, Kid Arachnid and Spin are dumb names, but they were better than freaking nothing. It's been, 11, 12 years? And he still has... They're still committing the same mistake with his character over and over again.
Alternate version of Spider-Man, there's a quick alteration or addition to the name to distinguish them from their original Peter Parker's title of just plainly Spider-Man. Miguel O'Hara is Spider-Man 2099 because he comes from the year 2099. Hobart Brown is Spider-Punk, not because he isn't a Spider-Man.
Dude, you misspelled his first name. It's Hobby Brown, you idiot.
But because he's a punk rocker. Plus, Spider-Man Punk doesn't really roll off the tongue. Spider-Man Miles Morales is what he is called because he is Spider-Man, but his name is really Miles Morales.
Because Marvel could not come up with a unique name for this guy because he's Peter Darker. He's Peter Parker 2.0. Just lamer in every aspect. Miles can literally work as Spider-Man, but he needs an actual good writer. What you need to, if you insist on keeping Miles around, you would need to rework everything. Every part of his character needs to be reworked and retweaked. His origin needs to be retweaked. Everything about him. His origin, his personality. All of that needs to be changed because as of right now, he's one of the most blandest characters in the history of ever.
And they didn't come up with too cool of an alteration to the original Spider-Man name for him to use, unless it's Kid Arachnid, but... If a toy of Miles Morales is sold as a toy of Miles Morales, it's because that's what he's called to differentiate him from Peter.
Because again, that's literally all he is. He's not Spider-Man. You couldn't even give him his own title.
Not because he isn't Spider-Man. These characters are all undoubtedly Spider-Man.
Nope, not this guy.
We only call Miles Morales because that is how we address the specific version of Spider-Man so that people know what we're talking about.
Except you don't do that with Miguel. You don't do that with Spider-Man 2099 or Noir. Spider-Punk literally is, again, an example that shoots you in the foot.
This is why Spider-Man 2099 is commonly addressed as just 2099 or Miguel, not because it's a moment of self-admittance that said character is in Spider-Man. This even applies to Peter himself. If I say Peter Parker, you might think of any of the movie versions, the one from the comics or even video games or shows. But if I say Peter B. Parker, you immediately think of my favorite movie version of the character.
L-Take, once again proving yourself to be a fake Spider-Man fan for liking this absolutely sad mother lover. Come on. Like, this is the most pathetic version of Spider-Man put to screen. Or as I like to call him, Hobo Spider-Man.
Not because he isn't Spidey, but because you know what I am talking about much quicker if I refer to him as Peter B. Parker.
I mean, technically, you could also call him that in the comics because his middle name actually is Benjamin. But let's not get into that right now.
If I tell you to think about Spider-Man, you're obviously going to think about this guy, not this one. Just because they're referred to differently, that doesn't...
Nobody's going to think Tom Holland, dude. Like, he probably wouldn't be the first option to come to mind. Also, I now understand what Dorito God says when he was referring to this looking like gold. You had one job!
Doesn't mean they still can't fit under the classification of Spider-Man. But what makes them fit under the classification of Spider-Man? Well, I believe it's two things. What does Spider-Man do? He climbs walls, he shoots webs, he has a high sense of awareness, he helps people, and he's pretty damn strong. These are all things that Miles Morales does, along with almost every other person who has in some shape or form.
Except you want to know what all the others have that Miles doesn't? A unique gimmick, a unique storyline, and a unique personality. Some of them even have fun twists on the formula, like Miguel, who takes a much more sci-fi twist to everything. You know, instead of having just magical stick-em powers like Peter does, he actually has, you know, talons that he can use to dig into material so he can climb up buildings. He has fangs that can distribute venom, paralyzing venom. He has organic webbing that he shoots out of the top of his arms instead of using a mechanical device. The dude is also very much the opposite of Spider-Man. Like as Miguel O'Hara, he's happy-go-lucky. He's a bit of a smartass, but as Spider-Man, he's like all business. He very much is different from Peter in every way, shape, and form. He's basically his own character. Miles does not have that luxury at all.
Fit under the mantle of Spider-Man. But who says Spider-Man is a mantle, a classification, or a group? Why is he now a group of people as opposed to one?
Because Marvel needs money. And because Marvel just hates Peter Parker so much that they want to make him mean nothing anymore. Like, he just doesn't matter.
Because these people have clearly made it so.
Just because they made it so does not mean it is acceptable, nor was it the right decision. If you're going to bow down to Marvel like that and suck them off, then I don't know what to tell you, man. That just makes you even more embarrassing and yet another tick to the board of why you are a fake fan.
Amazing Spider-Man is commonly known as 616 Peter Parker. He cannot be Ultimate Spider-Man because Ultimate Spider-Man is Ultimate Spider-Man, who is Peter Parker from Earth 1610. And that is how you tell the difference between these two. Even Peter Parker has his own alterations and titles that help him differentiate even from different versions of himself. Hell, even when Miles took over the Ultimate continuity as Spider-Man, the title went from Ultimate Spider-Man to Ultimate Comics Spider-Man.
Oh, come on, man. That is a reach and you know it. Miles' unique gimmick was the Venom sting that they buffed that shit over and over and over, where I wish it just stayed as a nervous system check. It's like saying, see, look how much better Miles is. Like, it's so in your face. Honestly, the Venom powers were something that he kind of stole from Spider-Woman as well. Like, she has Venom blasts.
Sensational Spider-Man? That's not Peter, that's Ben Reilly, a clone of Spider-Man. How do you know? Because he's referred to differently as Sensational Spider-Man. Even if you say that Miles isn't Spider-Man because we don't immediately refer to him as such, this doesn't mean that the person...
No, it's more than that, dude. We don't see Miles as Spider-Man because we know why Miles exists, to replace Peter Parker. That's the reason we don't accept him as a Spider-Man.
We're talking about isn't Spider-Man. We don't have to prove this because it's already been set in stone for the people who keep us in our mother's basements, Marvel Comics. You can say all you want that Marvel character Miles Morales isn't Spider-Man, but at the end of the day, he's a Marvel character. If Marvel makes a choice about a character, then that's how it is.
No, it's not. No, it's not, man. Stop sucking off to Marvel. Pop it out of your mouth, boy. It doesn't roll like that. Marvel does not get a say in how the fandom accepts things. The fandom doesn't have to suck off to Marvel.
The entire reason we complain about everything they do is because we are powerless to change the choices they make with their characters. Good.
No, we complain because what they do is genuinely stupid. Just like you are being. Like, come on, chat. There's no way this guy can be this stupid. Japanese Spider-Man is more unique than Miles Morales. Or you're just racist, man. Where's your video crying about Miguel? He's also Spider-Man. You're saying we don't accept him, but the majority like Miles. Shill. Yep, we've got a shill alert. Already, you immediately lost the argument by calling me racist. By assuming I'm racist, man. Bada bing, bada boom. You don't have an argument, and you immediately shot yourself in the foot. The majority of people who like Miles, and I'm putting like in quotations here, are fake fans who have never read a comic book in their life. You're fake fans, all of you. Go to shill alert.
They're bad. If Marvel says Miles Morales is Spider-Man, then he is such.
No, he is not. He is not, man. I guess you're totally okay with everything in Marvel Comics then. I am willing to bet then you are totally, because if we're going to play this little game that whatever Marvel says goes, then that means you are okay with Marvel breaking up Peter and Mary Jane's marriage. You're okay with Peter being treated like crap during the Zeb Wells run. You are okay with Spider-Man being again, we can turn this around on you. I'm sorry your argument was that I'm a shill. That's not an argument either, but you're hating on Miles. Yeah, of course I'm hating on Miles, but it's not for the reasons you accuse me of. The fact that you already pulled the R card on me already showcases that you don't have any basis to stand on. You are immediately going to jump to an insult and attack me because you don't have any counter argument to what I am saying. Actually, it does. If you like Miles, you're basically encouraging Marvel to replace Peter, because that is why Miles exists. Just like every other legacy character that came after Miles was created.
That doesn't mean that Peter isn't Spider-Man. It just means that Miles is also Spider-Man.
That's not true, but again, I have already debunked your logic.
A different one. It's not us making Marvel change Spider-Man from being one character into a group of characters. It's Marvel doing it.
And every decision Marvel has made ever since the early 2000s has been extremely bad.
Tell you that Miles is Spider-Man, we're telling you that Miles is Spider-Man because that's just how it is. You're probably wondering where Just Some Guy's commentary has gone in my video. I've only responded to the 2 points he's made so far, and it might feel like I haven't given him time to breathe or even address his counterpoints. But if you watch the—
Dude, it's a video. How do you give a guy time to breathe when he's already given the argument in a video? That was worded extremely weirdly. If this gets more heated up, I'm going to put him on timeout and let things cool, as I don't believe in silence. Go ahead. I don't believe in kicking people out unless they're being extremely disturbing.
video before mine, like I told you to, because my fan base always listens to me, and they never ever do anything I tell them not to. That was a lie. You'd find out that Guy just states his point about how we call him Miles, and that's how we know he isn't Spider-Man, but then moves on to talk about how Miles is just a token character and how that somehow proves that he isn't Spider-Man. I'll play the clip for you.
Miles Morales isn't Spider-Man. How do I know? Because you call him Miles Morales and not Spider-Man. Miles has been around for a little over 10 years. He's the pinnacle of token characters, and the proof lies in him being completely unremarkable. In Spider-Man's first 10 years, we got most of the major stories he's known for. The Green Goblin Saga, the death of Gwen Stacy, the Sinister Six, and so on. In Miles' 10 years, we've got... what? Honestly, what are his major story arcs? I'm a comic book fan. I know the important moments in plenty of character stories I've never read. I don't know any of his, despite people talking about Miles constantly. What are his major story arcs? What are his character-defining moments? Hell, what is his...
God, grow up, you push over, keep crying. First of all, learn how to spell properly, and second of all, that is some serious self-projection, dude. You came into my stream and started crying, calling me a racist. Like, who's the one crying? Certainly not me, man. I'm just here making a point and exposing a guy. Ugh. Okay. More ads. Lovely.
Isn't a dig or insult towards Guy. Nothing I say in this video is meant to be as such, and I want to make that very clear. He makes a single point about how I address a character and seemingly proceeds to back up his point with his problems with the character relating to him being a quote-unquote token character.
I mean, to be fair, he is a token character, and this isn't just an issue that just some guy has had.
One could say that these two arguments are related, but they really aren't.
They are.
Classifying whether a character is Spider-Man or not has nothing to do with your opinions or beliefs about said character. If I hate Miles Morales, that doesn't change that he's Spider-Man, because...
Sure, but again, he's not Spider-Man. Another issue I have with modern Spider-Man shit is that they want to turn him into the Bat Family. They've been trying to do that ever since Dan Slott took over the book. You had Silk, like... It was either every single one of his supporting cast was deeply involved with his life as Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Flash Thompson was Agent Venom. You had Anna Marie, who was working with him for a while. Like, it's at this point, I don't know which member of the Spider-Man original supporting cast has not gotten superpowers or become a superhero or villain yet.
Not only does he tick the boxes that make him a Spider-Man themed hero...
No, he doesn't. Shut up.
But also because the company who made him says so. Even if...
Again, if that's the case, going by your logic, if you're going to go by this logic of what Marvel says goes, then again, you're saying that you support every decision that Marvel has made. You're supporting the decision to split Spider-Man and Mary Jane up. I mean, if that doesn't make you a fake Spider-Man fan, I don't know what does. It used to be Peter, then Ben. Then it was just the two of them. Then Ben died. Then Ben came back. Then came Silk, Spider-Gwen, Flash, Doc Ock, Miles. Jesus Christ, I think even Jameson has been Spider-Man at one point. I don't know about Jameson, but don't forget Norman Osborn's become Spider-Man in the most recent Joe Kelly run. Seriously. It's almost like Peter doesn't matter anymore. Almost like Marvel is trying to get rid of him. Also, not a big fan of this Miles suit either.
They market him as Miles Morales to keep you from confusing him with Peter Parker, the original.
Then give him a name that helps distinguish him from Peter. It shouldn't be that hard. Norman Osborn becoming Spider-Man. Unfortunately, yes. No, that was John Jameson. That wasn't Jonah. But does that really count? Does Spider Island really count? I don't think it does.
Spider-Man. We'll come back to his feelings on the character later in this video. I feel like the people who fight so hard for the point Guy fights for are so against the idea of Miles being Spider-Man that they've forgotten that Marvel has literally set this idea in stone for now. If you believe Miles isn't Spider-Man, that's kind of too bad. He is.
He isn't. If people don't accept Miles as Spider-Man, they have more common sense than you certainly have.
Saying he isn't over and over and over again will not change the reality. The argument doesn't even affect Miles Morales alone. If Miles can't be Spider-Man because he isn't Peter, then no one else can either.
Except that's not the argument we're trying to make, you moron.
Fan favorite Spider-Man 2099? He can't be Spider-Man, even if...
Here we go. They always bring up Miguel. Oh, okay, then I would have had no idea. But of course it's a Spider-Verse issue. The Spider-Verse is freaking trash. Miguel was not created to check a box. Miguel was not created to replace Peter. Again, Miles was created to check a box and to replace Peter. That's why people don't accept him. The same way people don't accept X-23 as the new Wolverine or Jane Foster as the new Thor. Nobody accepts these characters because they're only there to check a box and to replace the originals. They aren't their own characters.
People love his stories and don't see him as a token character.
Because he isn't.
Potential Elseworld that wants to put a new person under the mask to tell a new and potentially interesting story? Sure, but they can't be Spider-Man. All we can have is this one guy. And this is the only Spider-Man we can have, and no more.
This is the only Spider-Man we should have in 616. Like, that's the thing. He should be the only Spider-Man running around the 616 universe. Not all of the bajillion different crappy spins. I don't know where you've been living, man. X-23 was not exactly liked because they had to kill off Logan in order to make her Wolverine. You just can't replace. Nobody accepted her. Now, granted, she does get off a bit easier because of the Logan movie, where she was well written, and Logan itself treated Wolverine with actual freaking respect. But still.
And I think the reality is that's just less interesting. The classic trope of the copycat superhero is fun to explore.
Oh, bloody hell. You had to use the two most obvious and terrible examples. Green Lantern is a space corps. They're space cops. Of course, there's going to be more than one. The mythos allows for it. With the Flash, before DC decided to screw it up, Jay Garrick was the Flash of the original DC universe, Earth 2. Then when they decided to jump to a new one with Earth 1, you got Barry Allen because Jay Garrick didn't exactly sell that well. Then when both universes were merged together with Crisis on Infinite Earths and created the post-Crisis continuity, Wally West was made the main version of the Flash until they decided to bring Barry back. Yes, petty crime would literally not exist with any of these with hundreds of these people running around. Because if I recall, Spider-Man is the most powerful street-level superhero.
Or not just for other versions of Spider-Man, but for Peter as well. How does Peter interact with this new Spider-Man? Does he disagree with their methods? Does he hate them? Does he like them? Does he approve of someone else being Spider-Man? Does he not? These are fun ideas to explore that can be...
They don't explore them, though. Like, they don't. Spider-Man barely interacts with any of the new cast. And even when he does interact with them, it's in a horrible manner. Don't get me started on when Peter Parker interacted with Silk. If you know, you know.
He tied back to the original character people love so much via the use of more Spider-Men. Let's get back to what just some guy is saying. He goes on to argue that Miles has been completely unremarkable in the last 10 years.
And the proof lies in him being completely unremarkable. In Spider-Man's first 10 years, we got most of the major stories he's known for. The Green Goblin saga, the death of Gwen Stacy, the Sinister Six, and so on. In Miles' 10 years, we've got...
Why choose Central Michigan University?
Ugh, more ads. I don't like ads. You definitely do not want to know, Gil Hermie. You do not want to know.
What? Honestly, what are his major story arcs?
Well,
I know he has a copycat clone saga. That's about it.
I haven't read the original Miles run since I was younger, so I decided to get into contact with someone who has. Jonathan, or JPMoney1999 on Twitter. He is a huge Miles fan, and him and I were able to work together to
another fake Spider-Man fan. Thank you for outing somebody
sum
else.
up most of Miles' major...
We got a 2-for-1 here, man.
...character arcs from his comics. Miles Morales is a young kid in Brooklyn who wins a lottery, getting him into a more academic schooling environment.
AKA he lucked into his circumstances. Dude didn't earn it. He just got it by accident.
Miles is reluctant, as this places the burden of huge expectations on his shoulders. Miles is then bitten by a radioactive spider while...
Genetically modified spider, you hack.
...trying to take a load off with his uncle, who stole this spider in the first place as the Prowler.
Hang on, JP and I was supposed to make a video similar to this. A video similar to what?
Miles reluctantly decides to use these powers for good for one outing, and then decides he isn't the guy to do it. The real Spider-Man is, despite how much Miles' best friend Gonke thinks he should. But when Miles hears of an event involving Spider-Man, he rushes over to help. It was too late. Miles believes it was his fault, and his reluctance stopped him from saving Peter. But Gonke concludes that maybe Peter dying was the moment Miles needed to justify being Spider-Man. From that
Congratulations. Not only does Peter not interact with Miles, but he basically becomes the unwilling Uncle Ben for Miles. Dear God. How stupid can you get?
Miles' story is about fighting to prove that he can be Spider-Man. Whether it's proving it to himself by
ripping off... Yep, here we go. Spider-Man No More. Ripping off a story more well-remembered from Peter. You see what I mean? The guy cannot have anything original.
Fighting his own insecurities, Peter's loved ones, the Avengers, S.H.I.E.L.D., or even his father.
Dude, it's the Ultimates, by the way. Dear God, you're a normal.
Struggle is to prove to everyone that he is capable of meeting the expectations set upon him.
And yet he constantly fails with the fan base. How fun. How ironic.
He goes on to lose his abusive cat burglar Uncle Prowler, his own mother dies, and
both of which got retconned.
He has to wonder how to go on being Spider-Man when it's tough without the original Spider-Man being there to help him. Miles has to find solace in those around him, his remaining family or friends, who know or find out that he is Spider-Man and work with him to give him advice and help. Miles,
because screw Peter, who basically had to do this all by himself and barely got help from anybody.
is different in the way that he's not as smart as Peter is, but his shortcomings are made up for because he has family and friends to lean on when it gets hard. He's not like Peter where he has to take the weight of all the world onto his shoulders all alone. He has a lovable cast of characters that will be there for him when he can't do it alone.
Yet nobody seems to remember them.
That's just the first few issues of his run. Those are the major story arcs that Guy is looking for.
Except, why are these not adapted then? Oh wait, it's because these were freaking boring and nobody cared. I've seen people cover the sales for his comics. These sucked. Prowler died because he was trying to kill Miles, and Miles' mom was shot by a stray bullet meant for Ben. So he's not even responsible for the deaths of his... They can't even kill off a character in his own book right. This is just asinine. Not only that, again, they broke their one rule with the Ultimate Universe, that death was going to be permanent, to bring Peter back, all to try and get the fans to shut up by having Peter pass a blessing onto Miles. And obviously that failed.
Guy then goes on to mention that Miles is such a blank slate that Marvel produced several what-if stories where Miles becomes another superhero.
He's such a blank slate that Marvel Comics did a what-if series where Miles took on different characters' names. What if Miles was Captain America? What if Miles was Thor? And if you got bored with that, you could always read his regular book, What If Miles Was Spider-Man?
Miles being a quote-unquote blank slate is not the reason they did this.
Yes, it is. Come on, man. This is embarrassing.
Marvel did this because self-expression became a core tenet of Miles' character in the film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay, so basically you're saying self-expression is Miles Morales expresses himself by ripping off other characters. Jeez, at this point, might make him the chameleon.
The writers on Spider-Verse decided to improve Miles by giving him his own hobby, a way to express himself via graffiti art.
Okay, that's one small step in the right direction. You still got a long way to go. Oh, wait, you're not going to take any more steps? Okay, cool.
This change gives Miles a concrete way to distinguish himself even further from Peter, as his art becomes his own form of self-expression. This self-expression is what makes him Spider-Man. When he takes...
It barely factors into him being Spider-Man.
The original Spider-Man suit and spray paints it into a new design, that's his way of taking the mantle of Spider-Man and doing it his way.
Okay, congratulations. He made a new suit. That's barely it. Because all of us are doomed to suffer.
This is his way of saying that he is Miles Morales first, Spider-Man second, yet still Spider-Man nonetheless. This idea of self-expression is carried over into other adaptations of the character and even the video game, where
all of which are completely shit.
Tagline isn't to be greater, it's to be yourself. And
okay, then why are you Spider-Man? Why are you taking the name of an already established superhero? Be yourself. Get your own name and gimmick then. Come on. It's right there. Right there. You want it all to be about self-expression. You want Spider-Man to express himself, to be himself. And yet, you constantly keep having him rip off stuff from Peter. That's not him being himself. That's him trying to be somebody else. And this is why Miles Morales is not Spider-Man, because he is trying to mimic Peter. He's not his own character.
This idea is poorly carried out by Marvel within these what-if stories, where Miles expresses himself just through other superhero mantles. This idea sucks, and I'm telling you why I think Marvel did it. I don't think it's because Miles is a blank slate. Guy continues his video by continuing to claim...
Okay, that's what you think, but that's not the truth. You should have demonstrated facts instead of what you think. That is what I'm saying.
Miles was only created to be a black character and nothing else, and that his only defining character trait is that he is black. And I mean...
The sport slamming Fast and Furious.
Okay, probably the one ad I don't immediately dislike. But man, they're piling on the ads tonight, chat.
At this point, it's just kind of wrong. I don't really know if Guy has fairly given Miles the benefit of even exploring his character, or even properly explaining Miles' character, or at least what Miles' character writing tries to be in his video. He just keeps asking for Miles to not have stories tied to his race, which Miles has. The video game, the movie,
both of which suck,
are the most popular adaptations of this character, and
you do know that the Insomniac version sucks ass, right? And the Spider-Verse version, while yes, technically the best, is still pretty bad.
Neither of them use race as a plot point. I'm aware that there is a BLM sign in the game, but it is not related to the plot.
Except it's still there, man. They still had to tie it into Miles's race some way, somehow. That shoots your argument in the foot. And again, the story in that game was ass, too.
In my honest opinion, just some guy in this video provides a surface-level view on Miles as a character, and boiling down the issue back into the fact he's a black character, and not instead closely dissecting his stories to point out their issues.
There's nothing to dissect.
Guy, I hope you watch this video, and I also hope you don't mind me calling you Guy this entire time. But anyway, I hope you watch, not because I want to own you in an argument or whatever, but because I wanted you to watch a video where you didn't have to put up with me berating you or acting like a fool while splashing some offhand comments in between some kind of decent points. I wanted to make a video where I really thought about everything you said and addressed that and only that.
You basically used all of... Carry the 5, divide by 10. You used all of 2 brain cells to come up with this entire crappy video, man. Like, come on. That was god-awful. All right. One last video, guys. And this one was me deciding to check up on an old acquaintance. Somebody who just won't let his one dream die. The guy who is on a ship that has already sunk to the bottom of the ocean. Bombastic with the Battlefront 3 situation just got so much worse. Because, of course. Because, of course. Let us wrap things up.
What just happened affects not only the future of the Battlefront franchise, but any Star Wars game that's being made at EA. Electronic Arts was just sold for $55 billion to PIF, a Saudi investment company, Silver Lake, a tech investment firm, and Affinity Partners, which is owned by Jared Kushner. To put this into perspective, Star Wars back in 2012 was sold by George Lucas to Disney for
Come on, guy. Just give it up already. Battlefront 3, EA Battlefront 3 is not happening. Give it up. You want Battlefront 3 so bad? Then get an emulator and play Elite Squadron. Done. Exactly. I don't know what this guy's going on about. And and I know he's aware of old Star Wars games. He's talked about old Star Wars games on his channel. Oh, real quick, I got to show you guys this. It was it was this comment. This comment was authentic and nearly made me throw up. In an alternate universe, we are all playing Star Wars Battlefront 3, and we are playing on Coruscant with launch heroes like Ahsoka and TCW Ventress, and also playing with the Mandalorian and Moff Gideon, recreating the lightsaber duel with Obi-Wan and Anakin on Mustafar. And we have Captain Rex up against Cad Bane. It takes a vast amount of willpower for me to not regurgitate my dinner. I have not. This has to be the greatest insult to Ahsoka I've ever heard. Ass hooker. That is hilarious.
$4 billion. And EA's just been sold for $55 billion.
$100 billion.
And I especially don't think this is necessarily a good thing for the future of EA and the future of Star Wars games.
Dude, I don't know how it could get worse for EA. Didn't they won worst company in America twice?
Reasons that I'm going to talk about in this video, but essentially, usually when a buyout happens like this, especially on this kind of scale, the buyer ends up usually trimming a lot of the fat, focusing on the main revenue generators, which again is FIFA, Madden, probably going to be Battlefield as well, mobile games. There tend to be layoffs, studio shutdowns, people end up losing their jobs, especially considering there was a $20 billion loan used to make this deal, which means EA now owes the bank $20 billion, and it's likely going to use that money to further develop its big money generators. Welcome to Bombastic, the new finance channel. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. So it turns out this deal is also the largest sale of private equity ever, meaning this is the most amount of money anyone or any company has ever spent in cash to buy another company. $55 billion US.
To be fair, I would have bought EA for $1.
Now, the actual acquisition, I believe, isn't going to occur until 2027. But to put things into perspective, according to Bloomberg, 75% of the revenue EA generate comes from in-game sales and microtransactions. It doesn't come from new titles being bought.
And that is a bad business decision, man.
Put that into perspective for pretty much every Star Wars game that's been made by EA, apart from the mobile game Galaxy of Heroes, none of them include microtransactions. Battlefront 2 notoriously did at launch. They were removed because of the controversy. This basically means from now on, as a result of this statistic, 75% of their money comes from in-game purchases. EA are likely just going to double down on that. Just further invest in FIFA, in Madden, in likely Battlefield, like I said. Skate is a perfect example. Yes, the game is free to play, meaning EA are relying on all of the in-game purchases to earn any kind of revenue.
Well, good luck on getting anyone to actually, support your stuff.
And when you take that statistic and group it with the fact that 80% of playtime in EA games is in existing IP, so it's not spent in games like, I don't know, Jedi Survivor, Split Fiction, Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Squadrons, even Battlefront 2. It's in their games that have existed for a long time, like FC or FIFA, like Madden, like The Sims. EA are generating most of their revenue from these kinds of games, meaning that moving forward, because of this acquisition, it's much less likely they're going to take risks. It's much less likely they're going to invest more money in, say, a new Star Wars game, say a game like Battlefront 3, because of the...
Give it up, man. It's over. The dream's been dead. How long ago did EA Battlefront 2 came out? $2017. It's been several years, dude. Give it up.
Upfront costs involved, and because releasing it and making money on it isn't a sure thing. EA have now got this down to a formula. They've been making, for example, FC for years and years and years. They've been making Madden for years. They've been making The Sims and updating that with DLC. All of these earn EA a lot of money, and all of that doesn't compare to the amount they would generate from a game like Battlefront 2, from a game like Jedi Survivor, a single-player title that, yes, maybe will sell some copies and earn some millions of dollars, but is basically just a drop in the water compared to how much a game like FIFA would be making.
Is this guy so obsessed with Battlefront 3 that he's willing to talk whatever is going on with EA because he really wants Battlefront 3? This man has issues.
Even a game like Apex Legends, because of microtransactions, would be owning EA so much more than a Jedi game, for example.
See how I use...
What am I looking at here? Awkward.
People also now thinking that a studio like BioWare are in a lot of trouble after this deal, considering EA are likely now just going to focus on the football side of things, on guns, shooters, Battlefield, and not so much on the RPG side of things. Maybe no more Dragon Age, no more Mass Effect, no more games like Star Wars The Old Republic. It's a really big deal, and
I mean, honestly, considering BioWare's more recent reputation, I would say that's a good thing.
I guess you could argue that EA have been headed in that direction for years and years and years already. I mean, the FIFA microtransaction model kind of paved the way for microtransactions in the gaming space, in the gaming sports space anyway. And if you look at EA's history of making even Star Wars games over the past 10 years, it's never felt like they were the priority for the company. It's always felt like they've prioritized other titles. There is one Star Wars game, though, that EA have continued to update and support over the past 10 years, albeit scarcely and minimally. Can you guess what game that is? It's the mobile game, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
Which literally nobody gives a crap about. Like, seriously, guys, when was the last time you gave a crap about this game, if you even did at all?
Even though I don't believe it's had any updates recently, this game, which some of you might never have even heard of, has been EA's most lucrative Star Wars game. This mobile game has earned EA more money than Battlefront 2, Battlefront 1, Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, Star Wars Squadrons, and pretty much any Star Wars game that was made in the last 10 years. You know why? Microtransactions. In-game purchases, buying characters in this game is what's earned EA more money than any other Star Wars game they've made in the past decade. And if that isn't a clear sign of where the company is headed, and why they make the decisions they make, and why they've never taken the plunge in making Battlefront 3, then I don't know what is.
We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
Why did you have to use a Rogue One clip? Damn.
What hope do we have for the future of Star Wars games? Well, at this
None.
in time, I'd say they're still making Star Wars Zero Company, the strategy game, which is set to release in 2026. I'd also say they're still making Star Wars Jedi 3, the third and potential final game in Cal Kestis' journey. But aside from that, this could be the end of an era altogether. EA might never make another Star Wars game beyond that, especially with their CEO, Andrew Wilson, stressing in recent years how much he values the company's own IP and wants to focus on the company's own IP and not necessarily licensed IP. Star Wars being owned by Disney and Lucasfilm would mean that anytime EA makes a Star Wars game, they need to pay Disney and Lucasfilm a lot of money to make that game. They get a cut of the deal, essentially, because Disney and Lucasfilm own Star Wars. But for example, if EA continues to update a game like Apex Legends or The Sims, because they own those games, they own those IP, they get to keep 100% of the profits. So what does this mean for the future of Star Wars games? Well, it's just less likely we're going to see any new Star Wars games from EA, and it's less likely now, more than ever, that EA would ever make Battlefront 3. And it's going to be up
Thank God. Maybe then you can finally shut up about it.
to other game developers and other publishers to approach Lucasfilm with pitches for Star Wars games and for Lucasfilm to greenlight them, as it has been for a while now. Now more than ever for EA, I think the writing is on the wall. I think it's been clearer than ever that their priorities are not pretty much in Star Wars at all. They're not interested. But I think it's crazy to think that for so long, for 10 years in fact, they had an exclusive license to Star Wars. That deal only ended in 2023. From 2013 to 2023, EA were the only publisher in the world that were allowed to make AAA Star Wars games.
And they all sucked ass.
Now they've moved in a complete different direction. And during that tenure, we only had a small handful of Star Wars games released, being Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, and Star Wars Squadrons. 5 games in Galaxy of Heroes, I guess. 5 games in 10 years, I don't think is that great though. Even considering some of those games are among the best Star Wars games ever made, I still believe Battlefront is the best multiplayer Star Wars.
I swear to God, if you say... Hang on, let's rewind that.
Galaxy of Heroes, I guess. 5 games in 10 years, I don't think is that great though. Even considering some of those games are among the best Star Wars games ever made, I still believe Battlefront 2 is the best multiplayer Star Wars experience on the planet.
Yes, absolutely. The 2005 Battlefront 2 game is an amazing classic, a great multiplayer experience. Jorge Lucas, welcome to the stream. 5 trash games. And this idiot thinks the EA Battlefront 2 experience is one of the best of all time.
The best one that exists. I think that's a fact. I don't think you can really argue with that. And I think the Jedi games especially also offer a really unique, memorable Star Wars story.
No.
And I don't know whether to be optimistic or disappointed about this. I mean, how do you feel about this? Is this good news for Star Wars, potentially, that EA...
Yes, because that means maybe one day, we'll finally start getting good games again. I doubt it because Disney... I mean, who am I kidding? We're not getting good Star Wars games as of right now. Unless it's ports of the originals. Solar Voludun, KOTOR beats those 5 games. It beats all of the games.
Won't be necessarily making a lot more Star Wars games into the future. Perhaps you never wanted EA to make a game like Battlefront 3. Perhaps you'd prefer that goes to a different studio. That said, I think...
I actually wanted that to go to no studio and for it to never happen. EA Jedi games. Trash. Battlefront 2015. No one plays. Battlefront 2017. Broken game. Worst launch in gaming history, and now no one plays anymore. Trash. And don't forget Star Wars Squadrons. Another game nobody played.
I think if DICE had made Battlefront 3, they could have absolutely nailed it, done a great job with it. But as is the case right now and has been for the past several years, DICE have been fully focused on Battlefield and, doubling down, I guess, on EA's own IP. Same deal. EA keeps 100% of the profits Battlefield makes. And it seems like they're going to make a lot, considering they're essentially pitching the game as a huge competitor to Call of Duty, trying to get a huge market share there. And there have been rumors about them releasing Battlefield as a yearly title. Not sure that's going to go ahead, but the gaming landscape...
Oh my god, if that happens, Battlefield's cooked.
Is certainly changing. Microtransactions are in, as they have been forever now. But all in all, I just hope we get more good Star Wars games in the future. It seems like that future is quite a ways off right now, though.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Also, I know this video was...
Okay, that was more bombastic being a petty little idiot. Well, I think that wraps up for tonight, folks. Pretty easy stream, not a whole lot planned. Probably going to have to change the title of this live stream. But if you like what you saw here today, please remember to hit that like and share the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I cannot wait to see you guys next time. Take care. And remember to always be awesome.